Hello, everybody, and I would like to thank my wonderful subscribers.
Hello, everybody, and today we are going to be watching Mr. Nightmare 3 very disturbing true scary stories. I feel like some of the titles get really repetitive, and it kind of makes it hard to identify if I already saw a video. But this came out only only 1 day ago. So I know I haven't seen this one. So, yeah. I think we could just get into it right now. It looks like there's an ad in here too. But, let's just get into it right now. Go here.
Dear fan here, you know I thought growing up would be the worst. Bills, responsibility, pants.
It is the worst.
But then I found a way to hack a...
Come on, read it. True horror stories. A classic title. A classic name.
Before we get into today's stories, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, ZocDoc. A lot of the stories I cover start with something small, like a feeling you brush off, or a detail you tell yourself isn't important.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's not too different from how a lot of us treat our own health, like a weird pain or just the mental stress of knowing you probably should see a doctor, but putting it off anyway. I caught myself doing the same thing, telling myself I'd deal with it tomorrow. That's when I used ZocDoc, and it actually made the whole process painless. ZocDoc is an appointment available. You can with no awkward that specifically mentioned listening and taking patients seriously. That mattered.
You know, I never
He didn't look at me once.
Oh shit, wait, what the heck?
In-network doctors, compare them by...
What the heck? What did I hit? Oh no, what the heck? I'm sorry, there's a new keyboard.
That's when and book
I didn't know it would hit forward.
Specifically, already feel trust. Head over to Clicks.
Okay, let's get into it. Story 1 by Nature Die 1.
I went camping alone last winter with my dog Roscoe, and it's something I'll never do again.
Why?
I had taken a few days off work and wanted to get away from people. I loaded my truck with my gear and drove up a long, narrow trail that cut deep into a state forest.
Why
the road was barely maintained, covered in packed snow and ice, and there were no other cars anywhere. After driving for almost an hour, I parked at a small pull-off that looked like it hadn't been used in a long time.
Okay.
From there, I hiked another 20 minutes with my pack and Roscoe until
I
reached
cannot
a small
hike.
clearing surrounded by thick trees. The snow was deep and untouched. There were no footprints or signs of anyone else being around recently. That was what I wanted. I set my pack down, cleared a spot for a tent, and let Roscoe wander around while I worked.
Yeah.
He stayed close, sniffing the snow in the trees and just jumping around playing. I pitched the tent, staked it down hard because the ground was frozen, and laid out my sleeping pad and winter-rated sleeping bag
I didn't
inside.
say this, but yeah, this one doesn't really have a theme.
Well below freezing, so I layered properly. Thermal base layers, thick socks, a fleece, and a heavy jacket stayed on even after camp was set. Once the tent was ready, I gathered dead wood and built a small fire pit.
Good.
I started a fire and let it burn down until I had a steady flame. I cooked dinner over it, just a simple meal, and sat on a log eating while Roscoe lay near the fire.
You're not gonna tell me?
The woods were quiet in that deep winter way where sound feels almost non-existent. I learned a long time ago from my dad that snow actually absorbs sound.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Roscoe suddenly stood up and started barking toward the trees.
Oh no.
It didn't concern me at first. Deer were everywhere out there.
Yeah.
And he had barked at them before.
Okay.
I told him to relax, and he did after a minute, sitting back down.
Pepper.
I checked the time and decided I'd stay up a bit longer by the fire before turning in. I always carried a handgun when camping in remote places.
Okay,
it was
good.
holstered at my side like it always was. I felt fine at that point. About 20 minutes later, Roscoe started barking again, louder this time. Then I heard it too. Footsteps moving through the snow somewhere out in the woods.
Hide. Oh.
I stood up and listened. The steps stopped, then started again.
I can't see anybody.
Roscoe went from barking to growling, then suddenly went silent. He stood staring straight ahead toward the trees.
Okay, listen. What you have to do now is announce yourself. You have a weapon. All you have to do is say, "Who's out there? I have a handgun." And then you see what happens after that. Okay, see if they get closer, see what happens. I would not go to sleep anymore, though. Okay, I do not trust a tent to protect me against whoever is outside, okay? I don't know how people sleep in tents alone. Okay, all you have is a dog, right? I think the one time I went camping, the only reason I was able to sleep is because I had my dad, and there were a couple people around us who were I wasn't the adult. I was the kid who was just sitting there. You know, I wouldn't have to do anything. But in this scenario, you're the only person who can defend yourself in this nature area.
That was when I felt uneasy.
You have
I
a
followed
weapon.
his gaze and saw a shape at the edge of the tree line. Someone was standing there,
Oh,
half
shit.
hidden in the darkness, just barely lit by the fire.
A white hoodie?
I called out, saying that he scared me, and telling Roscoe it was okay.
No,
The
don't tell
figure
him
didn't
it's
move at
okay.
first. Then he stepped forward slightly,
Yeah?
enough for me to see that it was a man.
Okay.
He asked what I was doing out there.
Yeah, who are
that
you?
deep in the woods. His
Camping.
tone wasn't friendly. I told him I was just getting out into nature with
Yeah.
my dog.
Yeah.
He didn't respond right away. He just stood there watching me.
Is that a climb?
I could feel the situation turning wrong. I told him calmly that I was armed.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
man slightly laughed and
No.
said something about me threatening him instead of inviting him to join me.
Well, you're a
and asked where my
sedaily.
hospitality was. Then he turned and walked back into the darkness, his
Okay.
footsteps fading into the woods.
Okay.
I stood there for a long time after that, staring at the trees.
Good.
Roscoe stayed close to me. I didn't like any of it, but eventually I told myself he was gone.
You don't know
Put out the
that.
fire carefully, throwing snow on it and stirring the ashes until there was nothing left that could glow. I
Okay.
didn't want light drawing attention.
Well, no, you want light, because light will help you see into the darkness. A gun doesn't really help if you can't aim it.
I crawled into my tent and sealed it up.
Yeah, you sealed
Inside,
it up.
I did everything I could to stay warm. I laid my sleeping pad down to keep the cold ground from draining heat from my body.
Yeah.
I stayed fully dressed, pulled on a knit hat, and cinched my sleeping bag tight around my shoulders.
Okay, buddy.
I kept a hand warmer near my core and another near my feet. Roscoe curled up next to me, his body heat helping more than anything.
Aw, you pupper.
I lay there listening to the woods, or rather, the extreme silence. After a while, Roscoe started growling again.
Okay, get up.
Then I heard what he was growling at. Footsteps in the snow.
Yeah, you hear
They
it.
stopped, and Roscoe quieted, but his ears were still perked up. Then the footsteps started again, closer this time, and slower than before. They
Okay.
came right up to the tent and stopped. Roscoe began howling
Do
loudly.
you have a weapon
I
close
whispered for
by?
him to stop, terrified of drawing attention.
They're already right
When he
next
did
to you.
stop, he went back to growling. Whoever it was just stood outside the tent. I could hear subtle movement, like the shift of weight in the snow.
Yeah.
I had my gun in my hand now.
Good.
But I didn't want to make threats. I didn't want to be forced to follow through with the threats.
Well, yeah. Well, then announce yourself right now. They're already right next to you. Just tell him, "Hey, who's out there? If you do not leave, I have a handgun." And if they open the tent, then you show them the gun. And then, if they come closer, I think you're allowed to shoot them. Also, if you have your phone, I would start recording a video right now, just as evidence. In tort.
I've never actually shot anyone, and I don't think I have it in me to kill someone even.
Oh my god. Well, you don't have to kill them, just shoot them in the aid. guns don't automatically murder people.
In self-defense. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore.
Pull
I
out.
cocked the gun and said clearly that I had a gun and that whoever was there needed to leave now.
I forgot about the tool noise that guns make. Oh no, that definitely helps as a warning.
But realistically, who else could it have been besides that creepy guy from before?
Yeah.
There was silence for a few seconds. Then I heard footsteps again, moving away from the tent.
Okay.
Slowly at first, then faster, before disappearing into the woods.
Good, yeah.
I didn't unzip the tent to look out.
No,
I
you
stayed
don't have
frozen
to.
for hours. Roscoe stayed alert the entire time, which was the only reason I even felt remotely comfortable eventually nodding off. I
No.
certainly wouldn't have if I were alone. I
Good.
barely slept, drifting off only in short bursts.
You think you have a
When the sky
pupper.
finally began to lighten, I packed up as fast as I could at the crack of dawn. We hiked back to my truck and drove away.
Good.
I never went back to that part of the woods again.
You
I
shouldn't.
never will. Creeps like that guy really make life scary sometimes. And
Yeah, I think
remind
you
me
have
that
a
you can
gun.
never really let your guard down.
Yeah, always have some sort of weapon of some kind. What the heck is this?
Don't be afraid.
That was sleepy. Story number 2 by Ryan Tumming. Where's Ryan Tumming from?
July 4th weekend in 2025. I drove from Melbourne, Florida to Charleston, South Carolina to visit a good
Okay.
friend named Mark I
Mark.
haven't seen in years. He was there on an internship for his law program and staying in a house in the city.
Nice.
I was visiting for the weekend and spending the night downstairs on a couch by some windows. After a
Windows.
smooth drive, I arrived in Charleston, and we
Horrifying.
played some pickleball before nightfall. When the night settled in, I went back downstairs to the couch by the windows that faced another apartment building and a small labyrinth of alleyways with an abandoned house across the street.
Nope.
The next day, after playing more pickleball in the morning and hanging out, we went to the
Pickleball.
main Charleston market.
My dad used to play pickleball. I think he gave it up after 2 weeks though. Pickleball, we got rid of it. I don't know, for some reason people started getting into pickleball. I mean, if my dad and my older family members get into something, you can be sure that it is a kind of fad.
Playing more pickleball in the morning and hanging out, we went to the main Charleston market. We walked through it and eventually came out near the docks by the water.
Okay.
That's when we saw him.
Who?
A man in a wedding suit was shambling down the road near the water. He
Creepy.
wore a crisp bow tie and clean dress shoes, and his suit looked freshly pressed.
Okay.
He had long black curly hair and a tan complexion. The market behind us was loud and busy, yet this man moved alone across the street with a slow, detached movement.
Eh.
He didn't notice us and seemed to be in his own world.
Well, why would
If
he
we crossed
notice
the street,
you?
we would have walked straight into him. Instinctively, I wanted to avoid him.
Yeah.
Grabbed Mark by the arm and told him we were not crossing. We
Wow.
walked to the right, deeper into the city, and picked up our pace. He was moving slowly, so we created distance easily.
Yeah.
I told Mark it was strange and that the guy didn't look homeless. His
Okay.
clothes were too clean, too crisp. Something about him felt wrong.
Okay, well, you haven't really told me anything wrong about him. To me, he could just have been dumped. Imagine you're on your wedding day, you have a great yacht, and then suddenly, your soon-to-be wife rejects you, or she dies. I don't know, I would be pretty detached from the world at that point. I would probably move slowly. You haven't really told me he's asleep.
His clothes were too clean, too crisp.
Yeah, people
Something about him
looking
felt
good.
wrong. Mark agreed.
Okay.
We kept walking for a while. A few streets later, on another busy stretch of Charleston, we looked toward a shop and saw him again.
In the shop?
That same man, with the same shambling movement. He was far down the street, diagonal to us, moving at the same slow pace.
Okay.
Somehow, he caught up to us,
Okay.
even though there was no clear way he could have reached that spot without us seeing him.
Yeah.
I pointed him out to Mark, and we both stared. It made no sense.
What?
He was in a completely different part of the city, but moving exactly the same way. We pushed it aside and kept exploring Charleston. The next day was July 4th, and that
Okay.
night we watched the fireworks on an island about 20 minutes from the city.
Nice.
By then, we had mostly forgotten about the man in the suit.
You
We assumed
should.
he was just some strange person wandering around.
Yeah.
But something about him set off alarm bells.
Why?
It felt out of place, wrong. That night, we decided to go on a ghost tour, which we had already planned before the trip. It was my last night in Charleston on July 5th, and the city was
Okay.
packed. It was a busy Saturday night with crowds everywhere, lights pouring from restaurants, and that historical atmosphere Charleston has after sunset. We finished the ghost tour and walked through the main area of the city, filled with restaurants and nightlife. The
Nice.
street was crowded, and a particular wave of people was moving toward us, and quite fast.
Oh.
As this group approached, both Mark and I noticed something at the exact same
You saw the
moment.
man.
It was him, the same man in the same wedding suit, with the same bow tie and the same black
Yeah.
curly hair, shambling in the middle of the crowd as if he had been placed there. He stood out instantly. His movement was completely different from everyone else. He didn't blend in.
Yeah.
No one around him noticed him. Two people were walking right beside him, and he brushed between them without either of them reacting.
What do
He
you
kept
mean?
the same slow, unsettling pace while the entire crowd moved normally around him. He glanced at us for a brief second,
Oh?
and then continued forward. It was as if he was tied to the movement of the crowd without truly being part of it.
Okay.
Mark and I looked at each other in shock. It made no sense.
What?
He didn't belong there, and something in both of us recognized that immediately. We watched him move down
What? Because he isn't like happy, or because he just doesn't care about anything? Because like, I don't know. What if he doesn't care about anything? You know, what if he's just like a sad, depressed man who like is just wandering around? Or he might actually be homeless, and he is just wearing a really nice suit he wore. Yeah, he got rejected from a job interview.
the street until the crowd thinned out. When it did, we saw him clearly, still shambling, still moving at that same unnatural pace, disappearing into a darker side street until he turned a corner.
Okay.
We were quiet, not panicking, but deeply unsettled. The same man in the same suit appearing multiple times in different parts of the city, always shambling,
Yeah.
always out of place. Both of us knew something was wrong.
What is
Later
his
that night,
place?
we returned to the house. Mark went upstairs to his room, and I went downstairs to sleep.
Okay, I'm assuming
Shut the
he
blinds and
comes.
tried to settle in. At some point in the middle of the night, I woke up to a tap on the window.
No, sorry man,
I
you're
froze.
sleepy.
After a few moments, I forced myself to look.
Why?
I lifted the blinds slightly and looked down the alley. At the far end, I saw the back of a man turning the corner. It was him again. He moved out of sight, but right before he disappeared, he looked back toward the window. I told Mark the next morning.
Oh,
I explained what I saw, and even he admitted that the entire experience was disturbing.
okay.
He doesn't believe in anything paranormal.
Duh.
He's extremely logical and grounded,
Yeah.
but even he was shaken. As for me, I'm more spiritually sensitive.
Okay.
This experience stayed with me, and I also know it's with Mark months later. We'll never forget that weekend. The man in the suit felt real and unreal at the same time. Something about all of it was off. I drove home to Florida on July 6th, and the image of him turning that corner has stayed with me ever since.
I don't know how I feel about that one. Yeah, I guess that I would have to be there to understand why it's so scary. But all I heard was that, like, there was a man who you thought was, I don't know, out of place, maybe a bit sleepy. He looked detached. He looked out of place with wherever he was at the moment. And he didn't really do anything. Like, he just shambled around the city in some sort of daze, apparently. And then, like, the window tapping. Like, I can easily see that just being a homeless man who was, like, oh god, tonight should stay here for one night? But then they realized, no, these people aren't gonna say yes to that. And then they just walked away. And that's why you saw the back of his head. Or even better, what if the person whose head you saw, what if that wasn't him? You saw the back of somebody's head. That doesn't mean it was his head. So yeah, that one didn't really, do anything for me. Nothing happened really, The guy wasn't a criminal. You guys weren't in any danger of getting hurt. And he just, walked around. I don't know. I feel like you guys just overreacted a bit. Oh my god. What? Okay, I'm just gonna hit this. Okay, let's move on to Story 3 by A.T.
I never thought I would be the kind of person who double checks door locks or memorizes the sounds of my own floorboards.
Okay.
But that changed after 1 week last winter.
Ooh,
I live
recent.
alone in a small house I bought a few years ago, and my routine has been boring and predictable.
Yeah.
I work from home,
Like what a
order
routine
groceries,
is.
go to the gym late at night, and I don't talk to my neighbors much at all. That routine is why it took me longer than it should have to realize something was wrong.
What?
It started with a noise I heard around 2:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. I was half asleep on the couch with the TV still on low when I heard what sounded like a soft thump near the back of the house.
Ooh.
It wasn't loud enough to scare me, and my first thought was that something had fallen in the kitchen,
Yeah.
or maybe the house had shifted. We all hear sounds like that in the house or apartment once in a while, right?
No.
I muted the TV so I could listen. Nothing else happened. I checked the back door, made sure it was locked, and went to bed. The next morning, I noticed the back door felt different when I opened
What
it.
do you mean?
The deadbolt still worked,
Yeah.
but the handle felt loose,
You.
like it had been twisted too hard. I made a mental note to fix it later.
Yeah. Good idea.
That night, I went to the gym around 11 p.m. like I usually do.
Okay.
Side note, I like an empty gym, and I got back around midnight to 12:30.
Yay.
As I pulled into my driveway, I noticed my porch light was off, yet I always leave it on.
Ooh.
I stood there in my car for a few seconds trying to remember if I had turned it off earlier.
You're not
and I
gonna
convinced
remember
myself
that.
I probably did. Inside, everything looked normal. I walked through every room, just doing an innocent little analysis before going to bed.
Okay.
Something I had never done before. On Thursday morning, I woke up to my alarm and noticed my phone was at 12% battery.
Even though
I
you
always
charged
charge it
it.
overnight, and I clearly remembered plugging it in.
Yeah.
The cable was still connected to my phone, but the charger was no longer connected to the outlet.
Ooh.
Weird. I told myself I must have knocked it loose in my sleep, but that explanation didn't really make sense
Yeah.
because my phone was still on the nightstand, not in bed with me. At that moment, my only explanation
Right.
was I picked up my phone in the middle of the night, accidentally yanked it off the outlet without realizing, and set it back down.
No.
I started paying closer attention after that.
That doesn't make
That
sense.
night, I stayed up later than usual, sitting in the dark with the TV off, just listening.
Why?
Around 3 in the morning, I heard slow thumps coming from the back of the house.
No.
Footsteps? I asked myself. Nah, it can't be. I held my
Why?
breath, but the thumps seemingly stopped. After a while, I convinced myself the thumps came from outside. I'm in the suburbs. There's of course other people around, even at night.
Yeah.
The next day, I found muddy shoe prints
No.
on the floor near the back door.
Nope.
The thing is, though, the footprints weren't clear. Like I couldn't distinctly make out patterns of the bottoms of the shoes, which
Okay.
made it look like someone tried to wipe them off before walking around.
Bad
My
job.
stomach literally skipped a beat. I stood there staring at them, trying to understand how they got there.
Call the police. No, literally, I told the police. This is like breaking and entering at this point. You need to call the police and report these footprints and all the other tiny experiences that have been happening to you.
I hadn't had anyone over. I hadn't gone outside in muddy shoes.
Yeah. You
I
would
checked
clean
the back
it
door
up.
again, and this time I noticed faint scratch marks around the lock. like someone had used something thin to pry at it.
Evidence.
I called the locksmith and told him I thought my lock was failing. I didn't say anything about the footprints.
Why?
He replaced the lock that afternoon and told
Well, there go your evidence. Call the police.
me everything should be fine. That night, I pushed a chair under the back door handle and slept with my bedroom door locked.
Okay,
Something
good
I never
idea.
did before then. I woke up just before 4 in the morning to the sound of something tapping lightly on my bedroom door.
No!
It wasn't a knock.
It
It
was a
sounded
tap.
like someone testing the door with their fingertips. I
No,
stayed completely still, staring at the door.
you don't do
My
that.
eyes burning because I refused to blink. The tapping stopped after a minute, and then I
Good.
heard soft footsteps moving away.
No.
I didn't sleep after that.
You
In the
couldn't.
morning, the chair was still under the back door, but the back door itself was unlocked.
No.
The new lock wasn't damaged. It had just been turned, and that's when reality truly set in.
What, somebody inside?
I wasn't just imagining these things like I thought I was because I was tired. Someone had been inside my house while I was asleep and knew how to unlock the door from the inside.
What, you thought you were imagining all of that? You thought you were imagining the messy shoe prints, the messy shoe print, the door issues, the light, the phone, and all the noises? That's like 5 whole things that you would have to hallucinate.
I called the police
Good.
and tried to explain without sounding insane.
You
They
don't.
checked the house, looked around the yard, and told me there was no sign of forced entry.
Yeah.
But that was kind of obvious given
Uh-huh.
that I changed the lock.
Well, yeah, you should have told the police before they changed the lock. I would have told them the second I noticed the scratch marks and the muddy footprints, okay? Yeah, you changed the lock. That's evidence.
They suggested I might have unlocked the door myself without remembering.
Maybe.
I knew that wasn't true. But there was nothing they could do either way.
Yeah.
That night, I stayed awake with all the lights on and a kitchen knife on the table in front of me.
Good.
Around 2 in the morning, I heard something from down in the basement. The basement door, which
Get
was
him.
just outside of the kitchen, was cracked open.
Get him.
I felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me. I stared down the hallway to the cracked open basement
Okay.
door. I walked over to it, peeked down through just what the crack in the door would allow me to see. And I swear, it was not my imagination. I saw either at the bottom of the stairs, or maybe one of the bottommost steps, the outline of someone standing there.
Oh.
A
Oh,
break-in
no,
to
no,
Worlds of
no, you
Wonder
shit bag.
and Final
You do not give somebody an ad
Fantasy
during
14.
a jump scare. You just ruined the jump scare. God damn it. Oh.
I don't know if they were looking up or not. When I realized what I was looking at,
Yeah?
I slammed the door shut and sprinted out to my
Oh
car.
my god.
I sat in my car as I once again called 911. After police showed up a second time, they entered while I waited in
Nobody.
one of their cars. They brought him out of the house
Oh,
in handcuffs a few
okay.
minutes later. He was barefoot and wearing dark clothes that looked like they had been slept in. He didn't look at me once. I
Good.
just don't think that he noticed me in the back of the car. They put him in the back of the other car and shut the door. I
Good.
stayed outside while more officers went back in, and I refused to look at the guy in the back of the car.
You don't have
I
to.
was actually shaking. Even as I talked to the officers, I was stuttering in shock. It took longer than I expected for them to finish the rest of their search.
Yeah, well, they
When one of the
tried to be
officers
thorough.
finally came out, he asked how long I had lived there. I told him a few years.
Yeah?
He nodded and wrote something down.
What
He
is
asked
it?
what time I usually went to the gym and which nights. I told him. He looked back at the house and told me they found food wrappers and bottled water behind the furnace in the basement, along with a phone charger plugged into an outlet down there.
Shit.
He said it looked like someone had been sleeping on the concrete using old insulation as padding.
Ew.
The man hadn't spoken a word to the officers. The main officer I was talking to told me the likely charges the man would be facing, but that ultimately it would be up to the district attorney.
Yeah.
Eventually,
part
they
of
told
it.
me I could go back inside. It was days later that I was going through my camera roll to send my friend something,
You saw
and I found a
something.
very, very disturbing picture. At first, I had to process how a picture like this could be taken.
I think it.
It was a picture of me, in my bed, sleeping, taken at 3:11 a.m.
What
It It was the same night that I woke up in the morning to my phone being unplugged from the wall outlet.
Shit.
The nightmare became real all over again.
Yeah.
I contacted the unit listed on the incident report, and they asked me to come in to digitally transfer the photo for supplemental evidence. I was told that with this photo, he'd likely be facing additional charges such as stalking or even being registered as a sex offender for life.
Ooh.
All good things to hear. It doesn't save me, however, from the
Right.
trauma I'll forever have to live with thinking back to this shit.
Yeah.
I'll never be able to go down into a basement alone at night again in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's just the black name. Okay. Okay, that one was shit daily. I think out of all of these, the third one was the most engaging. Okay, that one was the best. Not, I don't mean to like, oh, you have the best PTSD or whatever. But yeah, out of the three, this one was like the most interesting to hear about. I don't know, but also like, why would he take this photo?
Yeah.
Like, why? Did that imply that he's been using your phone to do stuff? But also, why keep the photo? What, was he masturbating to it if he forgot to delete the evidence? That's weird. I'm kind of sad that we never thought, like, a backstory on, like, oh, why was he there? But then again, I think the main character doesn't really care about that question at all. But yeah. Besides that, I have not much else to say. And we are gonna end the video right here. I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.